Well, hello everyone, welcome back to Dprieto TV, and we are almost to the end of the month. Today is October 1st. Wow, what an interesting video we've got today. We've only got October, November, December, and then we're done with the year. But we still got a lot left to go in Prietology Season 5. We're on episode 3 of 8 today, talking about things that are far, far, far away, billions of miles away. Today we're talking about the transneptunian solar system, so beyond Neptune, Pluto, and all the other gang planets that are there. Yeah, and all a bunch of other space objects that are there. Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting to talk about all of those. Some announcements at the end, some pretty important announcements. I'm going to be shifting around the schedule for the rest of the year. So the videos that are coming in the next part of the year, to the end of the year, I'll be announcing all those videos, and I'll show you that it's not going to be the usual order where we usually do like a gaming, then Prietology. It's going to be a different order because I want to try to do something that not that I need to do, but that I want to do. So yeah, that's going to change. So yeah, we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, let's waste no more time and let's go over our key terms for episode 3. Alright, so I'll move over here. Yeah, we got 7 key terms here today. Remote. We got 7 key terms here today. Like I said, we're talking about the transneptunian, I'm not going to be able to say that right. Transneptunian solar system beyond Neptune. So yeah, we got 3 terms today. We got 7 terms today in episode 3. We have Pluto, Eris, New Horizons, Voyager, Kuiper Belt, Oort Cloud, and Halley's Comet. We'll be talking about all those in good depth. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so to kick things off in our transneptunian solar system, good old Pluto, the long lost, forgotten Pluto. Shame what happened to this planet. It used to be the 9th planet in the solar system, the farthest, the coldest. It was sadly, I don't think that should have happened, sadly demoted to a dwarf planet in 2006. So it has not been a planet for the solar system in 17 years. Yeah, 17 years it hasn't been a planet in the solar system. 5 moons, I'll list them here. We have Charon, Styx, Nix, Kerberos, and Hydra. There you go. Those are all the planets that like Styx and Nix that kind of rhyme. Speaking of planets, Pluto essentially has a twin in one of its moons. Charon is almost an identical copy of Pluto, but obviously a little bit smaller because it's a moon. It's almost essentially an identical copy of Pluto, but as a moon. Pluto has a lot of ice. Its atmosphere actually freezes when it gets much farther away. When it gets closer to the sun, so it's more of like an elliptical shape that goes. Say the solar system is straight like this, like a plane. Pluto's orbit is more like that. There you go. So when it goes closer to the sun, its atmosphere melts, and then when it gets farther away, the atmosphere essentially freezes. And I forgot what it's made out of, but its atmosphere freezes. And like I said, during that year, it only gets a bit of the sun's warmth every single year. Its average temperature yearly is negative 382 degrees Fahrenheit. It is absolutely freezing cold on Pluto. You'd freeze in an instant the moment you get there, if you're able to get there in the first place. Sometimes, like I said, it gets inside Neptune's orbit, and like I said, getting closer to the sun warms it up and lets its atmosphere unfreeze itself. It's closer to the sun for 20 years at a time. I have no idea where it is right now. There's probably an app you can find to look at the star charts. Yeah, but yeah, it gets closer to Neptune's orbit every 20 years, and it gets closer to the sun, warming it up and making that atmosphere more of a gaseous state. Fun fact, the distance from Pluto to the sun, which as you know is incredibly far, 3.7 billion miles away. That is absolutely out there. It is freezing cold. It only gets a little bit of light. Yeah, but still the sun is able to warm it up from 3.7 billion miles away. That is huge. My goodness. Okay, here's another dwarf planet that's also transneptunian. It's one of the, I forget how many dwarf planets are out there, but there's a good amount of them. Eris. This is not a very well-known planet. Before it was fully discovered and classified, the people thought this would be the 10th planet in the solar system, but sadly no, because NASA is weird like that. It's another dwarf planet beyond our solar system and similar to Pluto-ish, and it has one moon called Dysnomia. That sounds like some weird mystical thing. Dysnomia. dysnomia, which is named after the goddess of lawlessness. I have to say that fast 10 times. Lawlessness. And Eris and its moon were discovered in 2003. So happy 20-year anniversary of discovery of Eris. So yay. Mostly unknown. A lot of the things that we're going to be talking about, a lot of these celestial objects are mostly unknown. We don't know much about what's beyond our solar system because it takes a long time to get there. We'll actually talk about one of those that took a long time to get there. Mostly unknown planet. It's the largest of our new group of planets, new group of exoplanets, dwarf planets, one of the largest. And Eris is named after the Greek goddess of strife and discord. So essentially chaos, of messiness, of discord and strife. Yeah, chaos rules on this dwarf planet, I guess. Before it was called Eris, named after the goddess of strife and discord, it used to be called 2003 UB13. UB313. There you go. So Eris used to be called 2003 UB313. It also has other names that we've called it on Earth, called Xena, 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 or Xena, and Planet X. If you ever heard of that before, they're talking about Eris. Fun fact, one Eris year, so one time it takes to orbit around the sun, and yes, Eris still orbits around the sun even though it's super far away. One Eris year is equal to 205,000 Earth days. So 205,000 days on our Earth is one Eris year. So yeah, so I don't want to do the math right now of how many years that is. Actually, let me do it really quick. Alexa.
205,000 divided by 365 is approximately 561.6438.
So 561.6 years, Earth years, it takes for Eris to orbit the sun. So it is super far away, much farther than Pluto ever is. Okay, found my marker. This is one I was talking about. We were talking about Eris, of things that have also been beyond there that can go pretty fast and discover these. New Horizons. It's a much newer spacecraft that actually was launched recently, and its whole plan, its whole mission, its whole goal was to photograph Pluto for the first time ever and visit the Kuiper Belt. KBA shortened it. We'll talk about the Kuiper Belt in a bit. But yeah, it's not a manned spacecraft, but it was a spacecraft planned to visit Pluto and the Kuiper Belt and other objects and photograph it for the first time. New Horizons is about the size of a grand piano. So if you ever seen a grand piano, one of those concert halls, New Horizons about the size of that. One cool thing that's about New Horizons is its speed. That is what makes it much more different than any other spacecraft you know. Fastest ever launched. 36,258 miles an hour leaving our atmosphere and going off into space, and it is still traveling incredibly fast through the atmosphere. It has already reached Pluto. It reached Pluto in 2015, more specifically July 14th of 2015. I remember when I was, how old was I in 2015? I don't know. When 2015, I remember we were in Mexico on our usual vacation, our family vacation that we take there to visit family. I remember seeing on the news that morning, just like, hey, this New Horizons spacecraft encountered Pluto. This is the photograph that they sent on the news at, oh my goodness, Pluto in all its glory. Yeah, that was the first photograph image of Pluto. It looks much more pink than it usually does in images or in predictions of what it would look like. But yeah, alright, fun fact about New Horizons. The guy who discovered Pluto, his name was Clyde Tombaugh. He obviously is dead by now. So what New Horizons and NASA did is that they took some of the ashes of Mr. Tombaugh, the discoverer of Pluto, they put it in the spacecraft and they took it. New Horizons, currently, right now, past Pluto, has ashes of Clyde Tombaugh, the discoverer of Pluto, on it. That's kind of cool. Imagine, like, discovering a planet and then dying and then having yourself literally taken to that planet that you discovered. It's like you're sent super far to go discover that planet. It's amazingly cool. Yeah. Whew. All right. We got 4 more turns to go. All right. This is probably one of my favorite space probes. After Cassini, this is probably one of my favorite space probes. And considering emphasis on the word space probes, plural, the Voyager probes, a classic of space exploration. They're a pair of old space probes launched in 1977 and are still working. 46-year mission. They have been in space for a long time. Yeah, they're still going to this day. A pair of old space probes, like I said, launched in 77. They have visited the most amount of planets and moons than any other spacecraft not combined, but most of any other spacecraft, both of them. After seeing Jupiter and Saturn, essentially, I think Voyager 2 was launched first and then Voyager 1, I believe. So yeah, after seeing both Jupiter and Saturn and taking tons of photographs of them, Voyager 1 took a sharp left and went up into outer space just to explore, and after that, and Voyager 2 essentially went on a tour of all the gas giants and is going very, very far. They're already super far, the farthest man-made objects ever made. And went to see Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, took amazing photographs, amazing exploration, amazing data collected of all the moons, planets, asteroids, the Kuiper Belt, which we'll talk about in a bit. It went past, it didn't get to Pluto, it didn't photograph Pluto, but then it went past and it's off into space, and they're both going in different directions. Yeah, they have a massive legacy, massive history, very, very accomplished space probes. They have seen the most things in the solar system than any other space probe before. Starting in 2020, they started to lose power, but scientists actually thought that they lost signal in 2020 with one of the Voyager probes. It's like, oh, it's dead, but somehow it's back. It's back from the dead. It's supposedly this loss of signal. It just turned on, and they just turned it on again, and Voyager's back. Yeah. They're still going to this day. Obviously, they're much older. They don't have the same amount of technology. They're losing power because they're very old. So yeah, and fun fact about, well, not the fun fact, but it takes 14 hours for a signal from either of them to reach the Earth, especially Voyager 2 since it's closer. It takes about 14 hours for the signal to reach Earth. That is incredibly, so it's traveling at, it takes 14 light hours for 14 hours for the speed of light from the spacecraft to reach Earth. Yeah, super, super far. Fun fact, speaking of the Voyagers, Voyager 2, which is probably the most known one, showed that our solar system is more of an ellipse, not a circle. If you don't know what an ellipse is, an oval, essentially. It's not that much of like a, what was the analogy they used? It's not so much like a circle, it's more, they said, like a football, like this. It's more of a football elliptical shape than your traditional circle. So, yeah, let's move on. We got 3 more terms to go. We mentioned this when we, which one did we talk about? Ah, yes, when we talked about New Horizons. The Kuiper Belt. It's essentially like the asteroid belt, but much, much farther. It's a belt starting at Neptune's orbit, so past Neptune, and is 20 times wider than the asteroid belt. It is huge. It is made of just rock and ice and dust. It is freezing cold. And essentially, some scientists consider just like a sharp fence, a sharp perimeter of super razor sharp rocks, super razor sharp ice of asteroids just surrounding it as a belt. And I don't think they move. I think they just sit there, essentially. It's a giant ring past Neptune, and so it's Neptune, Kuiper Belt, and then everything else beyond the solar system. Largest known members of the Kuiper Belt are Pluto and Eris. Oh, that's 3. Pluto, Eris, and, oh, I guess you can lump Charon in there, which is essentially kind of like its own thing. But yeah, those are the largest members of the Kuiper Belt, and essentially they are, like I said, they're members of the Kuiper Belt, largest objects there. And like I said, they are freezing cold. I'm telling you, this is barren wasteland. This is super cold stuff, made of sharp rocks and ice. It's a hostile environment. It's freezing cold, super far away from the sun. Yeah, not that hospitable, the Kuiper Belt. And yes, it's pronounced Kuiper. It's pronounced like you say viper, but with like a K. It's spelled Kuiper, Kuiper. The more larger and rounder objects in the Kuiper Belt, those are called Plutoids. Yeah, Plutoids. Plutoids, named after Pluto. Pluto and Eris are Plutoids. They are the more larger and rounder objects, the ones that can, I think those are the ones that move more. And sometimes I think the Kuiper Belt can spawn comets like every now and then. Halley's Comet, which we'll talk about, is not from the Kuiper Belt. So yeah, fun fact, more than 100,000 objects make up the Kuiper Belt, including both Pluto and Eris, which are Plutoids in the Kuiper Belt. More than 100,000 things make it up. It is super huge. It's ginormous. It's unbelievable. It's unthinkably huge. So yeah, we're almost done. Whenever I look at astronomy, I just always love saying this word. Oort, or Oort. I think it's more Oort. The Oort cloud. It's a weird, funny name sounding cloud. It's not literally like a cloud like you see in the sky. It's a spherical cloud in space where long period comets essentially just hang out, and it's around the entire edge of the solar system. So that's why we have so many comets. So yeah, it's essentially on the edge of the solar system. We are in the Oort cloud right now. It's 1,000 times farther than the Kuiper belt. So the edge of the Oort cloud, the Kuiper belt we said is already super huge and super far, going now 1,000 times farther than the Kuiper belt. So the Oort cloud is ginormous. When I say the comets hang out there, a lot of our long period comets that we know, which we'll talk about next term, a lot of the comets that we have, a lot of the meteor showers that we have, those come from the Oort cloud. We're essentially in a big cloud of comets whizzing around everywhere. And yeah, when we look at it, when we look at the Oort cloud on telescopes, it's very dark, it's very black, it's hard to see in the super dark night sky, and it is absolutely freezing cold, which we'll talk about in a bit what happens when they get heated up. So yeah, super black, super cold when they get in the imaging of the telescope because it's super cold, and like I said, dark space, dark image. In deep space, the balls of rock and ice, they just sit there. They don't whiz around until they get closer to the sun. When they get closer to the sun, past usually Jupiter's when you can really start feeling the effect of comets, they start to form into comets, which means they start speeding up, they get impacted by the sun's gravity, they form those tails. Have you seen those tails of, oh, I thought I had a comet around here, but I don't on my night sky. But they form a tail of essentially like balls and of snow. It's essentially just like a snowball. It's a ball of rock and ice, and it gets melted and just, it forms like a tail of fire. Well, not a fire, but essentially like burning hot ice, and it just whizzes through. It's pulled in by the Earth's gravity, and sometimes it's a slingshot effect, where it goes around the sun and it gets slinged across the other side, and it goes out into space. So yeah, that's the Oort cloud. Fun fact about the Oort cloud, the width from one edge of the Oort cloud to the other edge of the Oort cloud is 1.6 light years. It takes light 1.6 years, so over 1.5 years, to go from one side of the Oort cloud to the other. So if you were light and you were starting at one side of the Oort cloud on August of 2022 last year, you would get to the other side of the Oort cloud by the end of this year, around New Year's. So yeah, about maybe, well, not maybe New Year's, around like January, February-ish, yeah, of next year. Yeah, the Oort cloud is massive. We got one more term to go, and it's pretty interesting. It actually relates to the Oort cloud. Alright, this is an interesting last term. It's one that you may be able to see in the future. Halley's Comet. I forget who it's named after. Hold on. I'm looking at the astronomy book that we have. Well, it technically wasn't created, but its orbit was predicted by Edmund Halley in 1758. So, named after Halley, Edmund Halley, and makes Halley's Comet. It's a peanut-shaped comet. It's shaped like a peanut that visits the Earth, or a periodic comet, and it visits the Earth every 75-ish years, 75, 76 years. The last time it visited the Earth was 1986. So ask your parents if they saw Halley's Comet. And the next time Halley's Comet will come around is the year 2061. So mark your calendars for that day, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see this thing. You don't want to miss it. Trust me, I have marked my calendar for so many years now from now on, so almost 70 years from now on. I would love to see this comet from 50 years from now, or 47 years from now, to see Halley's Comet. Mark your calendars. Do not miss this opportunity to see something that very few people have seen before. Where were we? It's a very big comet. It's a spectacular looking one that from people have seen. It has a giant tail. Remember how we were talking about tails, comet tails in the Oort cloud? It's a giant tail that goes 60 miles long. It is huge, and the debris left in its wake, or when it passes by, it causes 2 meteor showers per year. So our annual meteor showers, some of our annual meteor showers are caused by Halley's Comet. And with it passing every single year, that means it's trapped in an endless spin around the sun, and we're only able to see it for a short amount of time. Oh, how long does Halley's Comet say? I forget. But it's trapped in an endless orbit around the sun, pulled in by the sun's gravity. It'll forever keep going like that until it essentially dies, or it blows up, or it erodes into nothing. But yeah, it has been visited by 4 space probes. I'll tell you which ones. Vega 1 and Vega 2. which essentially counts as like one space probe group. Giotto, which I'm guessing is Italian one. Suisei and Sakigake. Those are the space probes that have visited Halley's Comet, and they've actually landed on it and essentially take samples and bring them back to Earth. Fun fact, this is actually a really interesting fun fact. Listen to this. It has been seen, actually, it has been documented much before. This has been seen in history before by people who lived 1,000 years ago. Ever heard of William the Conqueror? During the Battle of Hastings in 1066, William Conqueror was about to go into battle, and he saw the comet in the sky, and essentially he's like, oh, good luck. So Halley's Comet passed by in 1066. It was a sign of luck and good hope for William the Conqueror just before the Battle of Hastings, before he met King Harold, and he eventually defeated him. William the Conqueror won the Battle of Hastings, and yeah, history goes on after that. So yeah, this might be a sign of good luck for you. Who knows? Well, we have finished our episode, so yeah, let's go over some announcements. We got some very important ones to talk about. So yeah, let's go to announcements. Football back up here. Kind of short, but anyway, football's back up there. We have finished episode 3. We got 5 episodes left in the season, and that's the end of Prietology for good. But yeah, let's enjoy it while we have it. Let's stop and smell the roses. Is that what they say? Yeah, just stop by and enjoy the moment. Alright, announcement. This is very important, so listen carefully. For the next rest of the year, I've actually decided to flip around the schedule just a little bit of which videos were coming out. There will be 7 more videos coming out this year, and that's it. We're in 2023. I know it's happening so fast. So, October 15th, which is our next video, we'll be playing Burnout Paradise for the 3rd time. That's going to be interesting. Burnout Paradise number 3 coming out on October 15th. And then October 29th, which I think is 2 weeks after, will be Cuphead number 9. We're going to play Cuphead again. I want to beat that dragon level. I just want to get done with it before the end of the year so we can go into 2024 with getting into Isle 3. So yeah, we're going to play Cuphead again just to beat that level, just to move on. It's irritating me. So yeah, October 29th will be Cuphead number 9. Then, 2 weeks later? Yes, 2 weeks later, Prietology Season 5, Episode 4. We get to do this again on November 12th. That will be Season 5, Episode 4, coming out on November 12th. Then, November 25th, the Sunday after Thanksgiving, will be Prietology Season 4, Episode 5. So those are kind of a back-to-back thing. So we'll have back-to-back episodes. Get excited for that. Prietology Season 5, Episode 5, coming to you on November 26th. Then, on December 10th, Stardew Valley number 3. We're playing it for the 3rd time this year. I'll try to play it more often next year. We didn't really get to play it that much this year because of other stuff I wanted to try. So yeah, December 10th, Stardew Valley number 3. December 17th, the last video before the Christmas special, Prietology Season 5, Episode 6. So after we got 3 more episodes that we're doing this year, Prietology, Season 5, Episode 6 will be coming out on December 17th. And then, Christmas Eve, December 24th, is the Dprieto Christmas Special of 2024. Which, this year, I want to try to mix it up. I'm going to try to do something different. We've kind of done the same thing for the past 2 years. So yeah, I'm going to try to mix it up this year and see what we can do that's kind of interesting. So yeah, I got 2 months to think about it. So yeah, there you have our videos. So yeah, that's the videos for the end of the year. And yeah, next year, I'm a senior right now in high school. I graduate next year, so yeah, it's going to be an important step. It's going to be a big thing. I'll maybe make a video on it. So yeah, that's it. That's Prietology for today. I will see you in 2 weeks for October 15th for Burnout Paradise number 3. Thank you for watching, and like I said, 2 weeks, Burnout Paradise number 3. See ya, and remote.